Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Ollie, I hope you're doing well. Sounds like you're back up and running. I made a contribution to your PayPal account. Well, the drama is never ending at the Jerry Springer house down in Mississippi, where my family of origin resides. You have previously done videos on my family issues as well as a recent breakup this past year with my ex-narc. My main issues now revolve around my sister and my brother, who basically have tried to emotionally blackmail me over the years due to family issues due to their own lack of financial resources. Just to refresh your memory, my 82-year-old mother lives with my brother. I have I had in the past been in no contact with my family due to multiple reasons. One reason being my sister has a 30-year-old son that lives with her who is a thief, a drug addict, and has stolen from she and our mother on numerous occasions. My mom and brother are both on disability, and my brother thinks that he would not be able to survive without my mother's income and vice versa. My mother has refused over the years to leave my brother. When I attempted to make arrangements to get my mother into an assisted living or a nursing home several years ago, my brother went and got a bunch of his friends, thug friends, and went over to my sister's house to pick up my mom where she was visiting and told my sister that he was going to drive to Ohio and kill me if I try to take her away from him. My brother has bipolar disorder and has also tried to commit suicide and was admitted into a psychiatric unit at one point. I don't doubt that he would try something as he can be batshit crazy. He often has delusional paranoid thinking. When I asked him last year to not let my mother go off with the neighbor lady because she was having episodes, passing out at home, and what I suspected was a syncope. He became enraged, a six-page email because I was trying to tell him what to do when I just when I was just trying to look after my mom's safety. Shortly after this, the 85-year-old neighbor had her license taken away and her family moved her into assisted living. But moving on. My brother and my sister are twins and I am the eldest, but I have a different dad. 5 years ago, brother had my mom living in a trailer with about 40 cats. The trailer was filthy dirty, very unsafe, especially for an elderly woman. For several years, I had no contact with my mother due to the fact that she had reestablished her relationship with my stepfather, who had sexually molested me as a child. He had died 1 year prior to my reestablishing my relationship with my mom. After seeing a picture of her holding my sister's grandson, which was my mom's first great grandchild, it broke my heart. I was shocked at how frail and fragile she looked. I immediately went into action to rescue her from this situation. I found my mom and my brother a new apartment in a clean, safe area. I paid the down payment, the deposit, and all the associated fees to get them moved in. My brother did not have very good credit and had no savings, so he could not afford to move. They bought only one cat with them, and I thought everything was going to be pretty good there, and it and for a while it has been. Prior to moving my mom and my brother into their new apartment, my sister had not been seeing them that often. They were all in the same general area, but due to her family situation, she had been a little preoccupied. The main reasons were due to the fact that one of her sons was on drugs, stealing, in and out of jail, and the other youngest son was just becoming a new father, and she was basically helping to raise the little grandson. These were both grown men. The youngest lived on his own, but the eldest lived at home with her, and at the time in his late 20s. I told her that she may want to take an active part in at least looking in on our mom from time to time and making sure she was safe. I told her the situation that I found her in was very unhealthy for her. I am unfortunately several states away, work full time, and I'm limited on the time off that I can take. My mother at the time looked very frail and undernourished with impaired physical mobility and cognitive deficits, i.e., dementia. I am a nurse practitioner working with the geriatric population. I know all the signs and the things to look for in terms of cognitive and physical decline. That's my job. That's what I do every day. As I said, at this point, I was going to have her placed in a facility with social services involved, but my mother protested and my brother threatened to kill me. Also, my aunt and uncle protested that I send her to a facility of some sort, yet they did not play an active part in overseeing her at all. Neither one, neither one even knew the situation she had been living in. Most recently, my sister had sent me a voicemail and I sent it to you, and you made a video entitled Don't Be the Narcissist ATM. She had called me while I was seeing a patient and wanted to know the telephone number of the podiatrist that she herself had made an appointment to take my mom to, but had forgotten where she put the information and said she lost the phone number and wanted me to look it up. She called me from my mom's telephone number, so I thought it was an emergency, and I stupidly picked up the phone, and it was her on the other end. Typically, I would not take any personal calls that come to me while I'm working. I would let it go to voicemail. I would have done this on this day, but recently my mother had an issue with my brother not checking her blood sugar and not making sure she was taking her medications for her diabetes, and her blood sugar shot up over 500. So I'm always expecting to get a phone call that she's in a hospital or that she's fallen down, etc. Mind you, you're doing all this for a woman who went back to a man who molested you. My sister asked me if I had the address and phone number to the podiatrist, and I said, I'm with the patient, let me call you back later. She then proceeded to ask me again, all I need is all I need is just the phone number and address. Can you just not give me the address? Take 5 seconds. I said again, I'm with the patient, let me call you back in a few minutes. Then I could hear her starting back in, so I just hung up the phone as it was obvious there was no talking to her. I knew the appointment was not until the next day, and I was going to call her back when I got a break, or just call her later on in the evening when I got off work, or text her that information. Either one of those options would have been just fine. Later on, I was free at the end of the day. I sent her with all the information she wanted, and I thought that was the end of it. Later on that evening, I got home and got a voicemail, and she left and said, "I'm sorry, I'm wasting your time. I was just asking for you to look up a freaking telephone number. I'm sorry I wasted your time." Well, you know what? I spent a lot of time taking mama up and down the road. At least you could do is answer the freaking question. I won't bother you anymore since I waste your time. Bye. I never told her she was wasting my time, although when she talks about this in the voicemail, it is as if I told her this, but I did not. I went no contact with her after that, and yes, it has caused her to crash and burn. She had my brother block my phone number on his phone so that I could not call my mom, to force me to call her and contact her to find out what is going on. She couldn't stand the fact that I was no contact and it was killing her. So she was going to force me to call her because she knew that I always talk to my mother twice a day, as my brother sleeps until late in the afternoon and my mother was basically left to herself. And my mom looks forward to hearing me a couple times a day. My sister lives about 45 minutes away, so she only goes over there about once a week to take my mom to get her hair done and take her out to eat and basically help clean up the apartment and wash my mom's clothes if she needs those done. She has been doing this for about a year. I told her on multiple occasions I'm very happy that she's doing these things. I even purchased a washer and dryer for their apartment so she did not have to use the laundry room at the complex. I myself can't be there physically, but I have to go to see her at least once a year to check on her overall health by taking her to her doctor's appointments and speaking with her primary care physician to get updated on her health overall. I have brought her to Ohio to stay with me. I've taken her on vacations, just me and her. I've tried to spend as much time with her as I can, because I know she may not have much time left and she's what's important to me at this point. Again, a woman who went back with somebody who molested you. Remember who you're doing all this for when you're dealing with the golden child, the enablers, your brother who sleeps all night. Remember who you're putting yourself through this for and why. Because you saw her look frail in a photo? That's the point of no contact to begin with. And it seems like you have this issue where you think you need to over-explain everything. Like you have to get in every little detail because of the attacks that are coming. It's obvious in the way this is written. You're putting yourself through this unnecessarily. I have brought it to a high. Okay. I have contributed much financially to their livelihood as well as I've contributed to my sister's livelihood, paying for her teeth twice. Once $1,200 and then $2,000 another time for her teeth to get fixed. I am not the ATM machine. Yes, I know that has all ended. I also bought my brother a car a couple of years ago instead of trading it in when I got my new car and took the money to give to him so he could buy whatever car he wanted, which he did and basically trashed it and didn't change the oil like it should be changed. Just didn't take care of it because he didn't have to pay anything for it. So I guess it really didn't mean much to him, right? This is not a teenage boy. This is a 50-year-old man who needs transportation. I would like to read to you the Skype messages that I got recently from my sister. I told my brother the other morning before I went out for the day that I was going to see the musical Wicked. It was a 2 o'clock showing, and I reminded him that I would have my cell phone off between the hours of 2 to 4 my time, which is an hour ahead of them. He said, okay. I said, Vicky, my sister, will be there today to take her to get her hair done. So please let her know if she can go out and eat first so that way by the time you guys get done, you can call me and I will pay for her hair. I had texted my sister earlier to let her know this as well, but I did not hear back. I usually pay for my mom's hair and her nails to get done if my sister takes her. My sister pays if she's not able to get a hold of me, and that's kind of how we've been doing it. No big deal, you would think, right? I was going to send four $25 gift cards for her to have her hair done, as it only costs that to get her hair done, and that includes tip. Again, remember who you're doing all this for. Remember who your show is being ruined for. Remember all this. Remember. That will cover her hair being done for a month. I didn't want to give my personal credit card information over the phone to my sister or my brother, so usually the salon just called me and I paid for it over the phone with them. Well, at 5 minutes before the start of the show, we are sitting there, everybody's getting ready to turn off our cell phones. We are in a theater, the show's getting ready to start, and I get a voicemail from my sister telling me to call the salon ahead of time and just go ahead and pay, etc. Unfortunately, I was not able to do this because the show was getting ready to start, so I just turned off my cell phone and tried to enjoy the show the whole time, thinking what kind of shit is going to come down the pike. Now, I honestly couldn't enjoy the show as much as I probably would have with this in the back of my mind. And of course, that's what she wanted because my brother had told her the phone would be off during that time. Later that evening, I figured that my sister was still there, so I did not call my mom, but I instead sent my brother a Skype message asking if my mom got her hair done. I'm assuming my sister paid this time. I'll get the next time. I went to tell him that I'm assuming you told her that I would be in the theater during those hours and would have my phone off, and that she sent a text message to me right when the curtains were going up and we were required to turn off our phones. So evidently my brother told my sister that I was on Skype messaging him, and she began to read previous messages between my brother and myself. These conversations we've had over the last couple weeks. These were conversations we've had over the last couple weeks. My sister had read the text where my brother had sent me information about my sister's son, Jeremy. Evidently, her son had been featured on an episode of Memphis Crime Stoppers. I had written to my brother a Skype message and told him not to worry about it and to just stay out of it and don't get involved. I told him this is too much drama, and if I were him, I would have nothing to do with them right now while her son is wanted by the law. I told him if you have Jeremy come over there, then you're harboring a fugitive that might not be good either. That's all I basically said. I knew I didn't want my nephew near my mother, as he had already stolen from her in the past, stealing her debit card and withdrawing $300 from her account. So my sister saw that my brother was getting a Skype message from me, and she took the liberty of writing me on my brother's Skype account later that day when she was over there. You mean your brother who won't get out of fucking bed? Your brother who won't get a job, your brother who you're buying shit for. You really think your brother didn't just hand this over to her? Really? You really think her and your brother aren't planning all this? Really? This is because you're trying to take care of a woman who doesn't deserve your care because you saw some guilty picture of her looking frail. A woman who took back into her life somebody who molested her own daughter. What are you doing? All of this is so unnecessary. Because consider the source of what you're doing it for. Now, I know you might not want to hear that right now. I know it might be tough. Taking this woman on vacation, getting her hair done, dealing with your lazy piece of shit brother, your lazy piece of shit sister who's obviously just jealous of you. Over having being in a state of mind where you have to over-explain everything. And then you think like this is innocent, like your brother and sister, they're working together. They're working together. And don't think your mother's this old, frail woman who doesn't know what's going on. Because my sister protects her son, she'll do anything, and she will lie to keep him out of jail. Below are the following messages and conversations between she and I. My sister's messages are in all caps. I can't stand when people do that to me. It's like they're yelling, but she loves to type everything in all caps. I'm going to type it in here exactly as she wrote it. Here we go. You probably could have just copied and pasted it. My sister. So why are you telling Ricky, my brother, not to have anything to do with your own sister? Well, you never have been there for me when I had cancer, so this is no surprise. I would never do you this way. I think I'm going to try to move Mom, and you could stay out of our lives. You want to be the ruler anyway. I figured you had a boyfriend, and why you won't answer the phone, I think. Thanks for your concern. It would be nice for you to check on your family. You bought your ex-granddaughter everything and left out Brandon. Ollie. Braden is her son. I have only been around him maybe twice in the whole 6 years of his existence. When I would go to visit my mom, my sister would never even come to see me. She would never want to go with me places when I would come visit, and I pretty much had to beg her to come over to see. I would be there. I would be there to see my mom, but I wanted to see her as well. My sister was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease in 1983. She went through treatments and has been in remission ever since. But every time she gets a chance, she loves to throw it in my face because I was living in Southern California at the time and had responsibilities of my own and definitely wasn't making the money to be flying back and forth. Years prior, she had gone out there with me and decided to come back after only 2 months and proceeded to have 2 relationships with deadbeat guys, have 2 abortions when she got back to Mississippi. This is what I'm talking about, you over-explaining everything. All this is real. I get it, but all this is really unnecessary. You could have said you've never seen them. Do you understand what you're doing here? And I'm not saying it to pick on you. I'm saying it because it's really over the top. And I have a feeling you probably do this in your real life. Okay, this over-explaining, and people can take it the wrong way. But this has all been done to you because you're keeping this woman in your life, all of them. She begged me to give her the money to come back to Mississippi. I had to save up my tip money working in a Bob's Big Boy restaurant to buy her a plane ticket to come back to Mississippi. She couldn't use her own money, she said, because she had not saved any working at a dime store for the 2 months she was there. When she was diagnosed with cancer about 3 or 4 years later, I was living in Southern California. I was waitressing. I was going to school. I did not have the money to come back. And she told me she was doing good and the family kept me posted on her treatments. My sister and I were never close growing up. She constantly badgered me, tried to aggravate me, make fun of me, called me names. We're never close ever. Also, the whole time I lived in California, she never once picked up the phone and called me to talk to me. And when I tried to call and talk to her, she never had much to say. Here is her next text message. Her next message. Why do you do this? Thanks for all your support when I need you. I don't stay angry at you. No, you have anger issues and hold grudges for years. Everybody knows this. You put your fantasy family above your real family. So, Ollie, the above text basically is a blatant attempt to make me feel guilty for my past sins of not giving her money for rent or a down payment on her house when she got kicked out of her home and had to get a new home, and she did not have the money because her son, who is a drug addict, stole $1,200 from her and stole her credit card and her husband's credit cards and her debit cards and spent the money on drugs. I also had broken contact with her when she had stolen money from the government by going on medical disability after a second diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, when she was told by her oncologist that they couldn't just monitor it as it was a slow-growing type. She went on disability, but when she went back to work, she failed to notify the government that she was working and owed them something to the tune of about $15,000 to $20,000. I'm not sure of the full amount, but something like that. So instead of just paying the government back, she decided to have a friend of hers who was a pathologist in the hospital that she worked at run more lab work on her, testing in an attempt to prove that she did not ever have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so that she could try to sue the original doctor that made the diagnosis. Or she just made it up. Or she's making all this up. Narcissists love to fake illnesses. In her twisted mind, of course, she would never have gone on disability had she known that she really didn't have cancer. If she would, if she was trying to game the disability system like McNormus. This was her rationale, which was totally insane. She actually hired a lawyer and was going to try to sue her on college. It's disgusting. She wanted to be able to go to nursing school and not have to work while she was doing it. So that's the reason why she went on disability in the first place. She did finish the nursing program and is actually working as a dialysis nurse now. The other reason I did not talk to her for years is because she was enabling her drug addict son. She refused to go to therapy to get treatment for him, just constantly bailing him out. The comment she made about you put your fantasy family above your real family was referring to my recent relationship for 6 years where I was living with my fiance who for all intents and purposes was my husband. Although we were not legally married, she is trying to make me feel that I had less than a family, always trying to make those digs that the grandchild that I loved for 2 years really wasn't my grandchild and just a fantasy. Because she knew how much I loved her and I could not and could not and could have not loved her more if she were my flesh and blood. I cried to her about this over the phone before, and she knows how deeply I am grieved for the baby. But that's besides the point. It is just another way for her to hurt me, to pour fuel on the fire, and she knows I am still hurting over that loss. It's only been 8 months ago. So here is my response. You have some real anger issues you need to work on, Vicky. I don't know where all this is coming from. I have not done anything to you. You're the only one that has done something to me. You're the one you're the one that called me while I was seeing patients and I couldn't talk to you and you couldn't take that for an answer or a fact. So you decide to leave me a nasty voicemail message berating me. The reason I'm not having any contact with you is simple. You have serious issues with personal boundaries. You need to get therapy and you need to get your family and your son into therapy and take care of your own family issues and quit dragging me into them. I'll do everything I can for my own mother anytime I can. And that's your problem. I was simply at the theater seeing a play with my friend Tina. I had previously called Ricky to tell him that I would be out of commission during that time for 2 hours from 2 to 4 p.m. my time, and the phone would not be able to be on. So if you wanted me to pay for mom's hair, then you would need to take her later in the afternoon or pay for it this time and I'll pay next time. But now I've decided it's best just to send you gift cards. I've already made arrangements with Ricky. Told him I would send gift cards through the mail. It is just easier to do this way. And I will send every month $100 cards for her to get her hair done every week. That should do it and should take care of it for the entire month, as it only costs $25 each time, including a tip. And please stop acting like a 2-year-old that's been abandoned by your mother. I'm not your mother, I'm your sister. I have to live, and you need to grow up seriously. Her response: and so many times you have called me at work when I was busy and was never ugly to you. You should have heard your voice when I called you. You think everyone is supposed to know you are working, but you call mom all times of the day. It's always you, you, you. Well, you're the one working. You're the one who can decide when it's fit to call. Ollie, this is true. I have called her at work several times, but my first question is, are you busy? Because I know she is a dialysis nurse and I know she has issues at her job with management. So I don't want to cause her undue stress or problems at work because I think about these things. If she tells me that she's busy and needs to call me back, I just tell her, okay, etc. No big fucking deal. Occasionally, I get the message to her about something because I know her son usually has her cell phone, and that's the only way I can reach her is over the phone. If my mom seems weak or confused over the phone, I knew she has to pass my mom's on her way home from work, and she can just pop in and make sure she is okay if possible. I do call my mom a couple times a day because I know my brother sleeps until around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if I get a break while I'm in my office, I close the door and I'll call and check my mom real fast. That's what she's referring to, that I call my mom all times of the day. So I guess she figures that if I call my mom all times of the day, then she should be able to call me all times of the day as well. Makes sense, right? Makes sense, right? Wrong. I never know when I'm going to get a free moment to talk in between seeing patients. Talking to families, talking to charge nurse and nursing staff, and attending physicians, it all depends on what's going on with me at the time. I can never predict predict exactly what time I'll be calling my mom, but I do try to call her several times a day, even though I'm very busy. My response: you seem to think you're the only one that has something going on. I have a lot of responsibility on my end at work every day, and when I tell you I can't talk to you because I'm with the patient, you should just say, okay, fine, I'll call you back later, especially something as trivial as this. I could have told you especially something trivial as this. I could have told you the very next day or later on that evening when I got off work that information that you wanted, but you thought because you were running up and down the road with mama and doing all this stuff that you were perfectly entitled to have an answer right there and then, regardless, regardless of what I told you on my end, and that you could just violate my boundaries or whatever I was doing anytime. Wrong. Her response: and next time you are at the bedside, don't have your phone on. Funny, you answered. When you call me at work, I'm with patients. Difference is I'm not a bitch. It's how you tell me. Don't answer the phone then, or bring it inside. Turn it off. Easy breezy. Ollie, when I read that message, I really lost it here. She was dictating to me how I should conduct my day-to-day business, how I should not take my phone with me when I have my phone, how I should not take my phone with me when I have to have my phone, as it's vital. And what we do as nurse practitioners, we use our phone as well to access medical apps while we're working, etc. She has no clue. I have charge nurses, physicians, social workers, etc. that I need to communicate throughout the day. I don't have the ability to just turn off my phone. I guess she means the tone in my voice, which means me not trying to be a bitch, but trying to be direct. My sister's always been sensitive in that area. Once she called me all the way from Chicago to tell me that hotel staff was being rude to her. She forced me to go to cancer treatment centers in Illinois after she burned bridges with her previous oncology, trying to sue him and all. Later it was found out she had indeed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. She was also for a follow-up test for her cancer. She said she said two of the staff at the hotel she was trying to stay at were rude to her and laughing about about her southern accent and made her feel insecure. And she basically called to tell me because she knew that I would call the hotel and report them for doing her that way. I was sticking up for her, and I would make sure that wasn't happening and that they were treating her right, which I did. I which I did. I called the hotel. I talked to the manager. They had to apologize to her, and she got what she wanted. The staff said they really didn't understand what she was talking about. They were laughing about something else, and they had no idea what she was talking about. Getting back to the story, when she called me at work that day, I'm sure I was a little more stern the second time. She pushed the issue after I told her that I couldn't talk the first time and that I was with the patient and she didn't get it. Yes, I probably did get a little more stern, but I didn't call her names and I didn't make her feel guilty. I just know my sister and she's very pushy and she doesn't get practice and she doesn't practice good boundaries and she thinks it's okay for her to invade all of mine. My response, okay, we're officially done. Yes, I'm a bitch. I'm terrible, terrible bitch. Okay, I admit it. Whatever makes you happy. If this makes you feel good about yourself, fine, but we are officially done. Does it make you feel better that you are calling me a bitch? I don't have the option of turning off your insults and your nasty attitude with this and not going to help your case. I have I have to have my phone on me at all times and just look at the tone that you're using with me. And now you're rude. You're very rude and disrespectful. Her response, I can't see through the phone and I don't have ESP. You can call me whenever at work, but I can't call you. You have different jobs. My response, I have called you at work, and when you have said you couldn't talk and wanted me to call you back later, I said okay. I didn't sit there and send you a nasty voicemail at the end of the day because you couldn't talk. That's the difference, Vicky. I don't know how you don't get that. You've got some serious anger issues you need to work through. Her response, and here comes the threats. I will officially print out a document and post it on Facebook that my sister has officially disowned her family. Remember, Ollie, I did not say I was disowning my family. I said I was done with her, and now she's trying to spin this around me, as well as threatening a smear campaign. My response, I realize you have a lot on your plate right now dealing with your son, but don't take it out on me. Her response, seems like the one with the anger is avoiding and not talking to her family. Let me Facebook your ex's family and see. Ollie, right here, she is definitely threatening me. I am not friends with any of my exes on Facebook because when I went no contact with him, I went no contact with his family as well. He was a narcissistic abuser. That's how I ended up on your channel in the first place, talking about my narcissistic ex. And she knows he had issues. She knows all of his problems and issues of why I left him, but now she's trying to threaten me with exposing me. But my ex knows how much I have done for my sister as well as his family. They know the whole background story, and I'm not friends with her on Facebook because she has done this to me in the past when I did not give her money for rent. She would try to friend all of my friends on Facebook in the past so she could snoop on conversations and everything. And then she would just start asking me questions about people that she didn't even know. So I was about to friend her on Facebook. Also, her son Jeremy would get on Facebook to try to find out who my friends were and whereabouts, as well as my addresses, where I worked. So I was not friends with her on Facebook. Why are you dealing with all of this? Because of your mother. You came to me because of your ex, who was a narcissist. But why did you end up with him in the first place? Because of your mother. Because now you got guilted into some skinny picture of your mother. Look at what you're dealing with. Why? A woman who later got back with a man who molested you as a child. Look at what you're doing. My response, you're a very sick person and very sad. I have not disowned my family in any kind of way. You should. You should. You got a piece of shit sister who uses you for money. You got a piece of shit brother who uses you for money, who sleeps till 4 a.m. You got a mother who allowed you to get molested, then got back with the fucking guy, and doesn't fucking put a goddamn leash on either one of them as should they openly fucking abuse you. I have not disowned my family in any kind of way, and that you were trying to say these things to me tells me that you have some serious psychological issues. My therapist knows all about you. I've let him listen to your voicemail. That's you, Ollie. And I let him read all the messages as well, and he says as well, you need help. You have got serious issues. Please get some help. Her response, goodbye, and see you maybe in the next life. Hope all works out in your world. My response, oh, don't worry about me. Take care, and please get some therapy. And by the way, you're the only family member I'm not talking to. Her response, you get therapy because you're the one dishing out all the hate. My response, no, I am simply putting up boundaries that are healthy boundaries that should have been done a long time ago, especially in your own family, and maybe you wouldn't have the family problems you have and issues with your own children. You need to grow up, Vicky, and face your own problems and quit trying to transfer or project things onto other people. Her response and another threat of a smear campaign. You're not talking to the Khans, my ex's family. Either, and I wonder why. I will Facebook them and see. My response, please have a good time on Facebook with anyone you want to Facebook and have a great time doing that. Enjoy. Her response, I will. This is a 13-year-old fight. You have devolved into the bickering, hair-pulling siblings that your mother probably always got her supply watching anyway. All this chaos, and what do they get? And she gets her fucking hair done, doesn't she? She got out of that shitty trailer, didn't she? You don't see this. You don't see this for what this is. Yeah, you got the other guy out, that cuckold motherfucker out of your life. You didn't get the source out. Still didn't cut out the infection. And you may not want to accept it, but your mother is the infection. Any woman who's going to allow her daughter to get molested and then go back to the guy years later, fuck that bitch. What are you doing? Her response, got to go, do not have time to type to someone who harbors hate at someone. My response, go right ahead and have a great time. I don't harbor hate against anyone. I don't hate you. I've never said I hated you. When did I ever say I hated you? Please tell me if I did. Ollie, the only reason I typed what I typed above is just to point out the obvious, that she was the one spewing hate by making threats of a smear campaign against me, obviously. Her response, you're acting like it. Well, I got to go. Hopefully you can see your doctor about your anger. My response, I am simply not going to have a relationship with someone who does not know healthy boundaries. Please get some help. It'll make sense if you just go to counseling. If you go to the counseling you need to do this for you and for your family. You've just been needing to do this for years. You're in desperate need of this for your family's sake. It's just so much easier for you to be angry at everyone else who's actually helped you and helped everyone else, instead of being angry at the people that you should be angry at, aka your son. No, she shouldn't be angry at her son. She made her son. She should be angry at her fucking self. See, when you blame her son, even though her son's a piece of shit, her son's really not to blame. She's to blame now for what he's done. She's to blame for making it that way. You're making it hurt because you're attacking what she loves, her son, or what she supposedly loves, her son. What you should really be attacking is her, which shows that you're really more just looking to bicker with her and hurt her, and you're giving your mother what she wants, and you don't see it. You don't see it. Ollie, I then wrote my brother a message and told him I would send gift cards to pay for my mom's hair so that we could avoid the situation in the future. I sent it on Skype, addressed it to him, but of course she answered. Of course she answered, and you think he just happened to leave it up and she saw it. And then you don't think he's an active participant in this. Her response, she then starts to drag out old things for about 10 years ago. And don't forget when you threw me out of the casino and told me I gave that $100 you gave me to play slots to Jeremy. You made me cry, and you are saying I have anger issues. Keep your damn gift cards and don't call or text. We don't need negative people like you. Go do what you do and ignore your family. Stay out of our lives. We will stay out of yours. We will manage. Don't worry about nothing. We got this. So as you can see, Ollie, after about a month of no contact with her, she's going into a complete tailspin. So here's the story behind the story. Isn't there always one? So here we go. Her son Jeremy was wanted by the Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee for aggravated assault and unlawful possession of a weapon. He's hiding out in their house. He's hiding out at their house down in Mississippi, and she is harboring a fugitive. They can't afford an attorney, and they try to get an attorney to handle the case. And attorney basically told them that they needed to turn him in. What she is trying to do, and you're going to love this, they're trying to hire an attorney to sue the TV station for running the Memphis Crime Stoppers commercial and showing his picture on TV and smearing his good name, LOL. This boy has been on methadone for 5 years and has been arrested several times and been thrown in jail for theft. She bails him out over and over, and that was one of the main reasons I stayed away from them. I didn't want to go to their house or be around him because he will steal from you if he gets a chance. He said he has stolen from my mother, and also when my stepfather died, he went to his girlfriend at the time who worked at a bank, and she forged a bunch of checks. That belonged to the deceased stepfather. I didn't find this out until several years later. I did turn them in, but nothing was ever done about it. So this is the real story behind the story and the real reason for her anger. Her son had already been profiled on Crime Stoppers on August 15th, and she sent me the voicemail message on my phone 5 days later. She was obviously upset about what was going on with her son, already, which put her on edge, I imagine. Also, next month, her husband is going to lose her job at a factory that he's worked out of for 30-something years with a severance package of about $20,000. In the past, she would always ask me for money when she would get into these situations. She would always say the money was for things and would never tell me the real reason for the money. She made it clear about a month ago that I was done for paying for things that did not involve me. I had no family that checked on me to see how I was doing ever. If they called me ever, and that even include my mom, it was just to ask me for money for food vouchers or for a Kroger gift card to buy food. So this is the reason for all the anger. It always comes down to money. She was doing all the stuff for my mom recently, going above and beyond on the extra mile things that she never did before, stepping up to the plate, and I'm thinking she's really doing this to help out our mother. At an 80th birthday party for my mom 2 years ago, she acted like it was going to be there. I bought a big cake and presents, got my mom all dolled up. My brother, my mom, and myself, as well as a couple of her friends, were waiting at the restaurant, and Vicky and her husband and her son Jeremy show up 45 minutes late, but only after I called my sister and told her she better get there. She was initially not going to come because it was too far of a drive, 30 minutes, and she was low on gas. She said, she just said, well, does she have enough people there? This was her mother's 80th birthday. But the reason, like I told you before in a previous email about this, there's always a motive to what they do. It's always usually to get leverage. She's wanting to get leverage with me by doing nice things for my mother in hopes that whatever she did ask me for the inevitable loan to help her get her son out of hot water or pay the mortgage with the rent because her husband is out of work on the 20,000 runs out, that I wouldn't be so resistant and that I would be easier to persuade. It's easier to get money from me than it is to make her 30-year-old son who's living off them and not working go out and help, right? It's always worked in the past. My brother likes to triangulate with her as well. He is a sneaky bastard. He told me when she was there a couple weeks ago all about her son Jeremy's issues and said that he didn't want her to find out that he was telling me that I should report it on Crime Stoppers and get the reward. He was trying to bait me to do something so it would eventually backfire on me so my brother could be the innocent bystander. Had it not been for my brother spilling the beans, I never would have known anything about her son being in trouble now and basically being a fugitive. So now I have disabled my Skype account. I was Skyping with mom. I was Skyping with my mom at least once a week so she could see me and we could talk to each other face to face. And I could let her see my dog and we were having a good time doing that. But my brother is also triangulating me with my sister because he thinks he's going to extort money from me, probably for a car. I've already given him a car in the past. They keep making references to not having a car and not having to depend on everybody to take her to the doctor and take them to the store or whatever. I'm so glad I've been able to fend off these people now. I just remember how I would let these people in the past make me so upset, especially my sister with her manipulation. And you can just tell it's eating her alive that she can't do these things to me anymore. It's about to kill her. They are my only family, and it's really sad I can't have a relationship with them. It makes me sad that the only time they ever call me is when they want money. I can't remember one single time where my brother and sister or my mom have just called to check up on me, just to talk to see how I was doing, ever. I feel an obligation to my mother and will continue to support her in any way I can, but not the rest of these gypsy grifters. I just wanted to follow up with this for all those who are made to be caretakers as I groom my family, as I was groomed by my family as a child to watch over your brother and sister. Toxic families are set up to be codependent. I have broken free from the whole and continue to assert my independence from this toxic family dynamics. All I could say is the longer no contact, the more the fog lifts and the reality of the situation becomes clearer. Thank you, Anonymous. Hasn't come clear enough for you because in this so far 53-minute video that you have over-explained over and over and over again, you get to the source I've been telling you right at the end. I can't remember one single time where my brother, my sister, or my mom have called to just check on me, to talk to see how I was doing, ever. What are you doing? This is because you saw a frail photograph of this woman. How many years ago? And she's still going? You're still serving the puppet master. You are still locked in deep. These fights you're having with your sister back and forth, the boys. This is two 12-year. This is a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old fighting over dolls, but in a narcissistic dynamic. As long as you continue to keep this puppet master in your life, your mother, I don't care how guilty you feel. I don't care how obligated you feel. I think that's bullshit. Don't be afraid of disowning your family. Your family are a bunch of fucking assholes, harboring fugitives at this point. You serious? And your brother wasn't trying to set you up. Set you up might have been a fallback position. He wanted the money. He wanted to see if he could team up with you, because they're always going to try to change sides if it benefits them. As long as you keep the puppet master in your life, none of this is going to change. None of this is going to change. All of it doesn't matter because it's all been manipulated by your mother. It's all been manipulated by the same decision she made to go back with a man who molested you. I mean, could she tell you you're any lower in any way than that? I don't think so. And yet you go out of your way. And I think you're going out of your way to maintain maybe the childhood dynamic you had with your brothers and sisters growing up, with this bickering back and forth. She loves it. Think she don't know? She loves it. Okay. It's an hour before kickoff. I woke up earlier than I thought. I wanted to get this video done at least. Thank you, Anonymous, for your contribution. I really do appreciate it. And I know you've been a supporter for a while. But I got to wake you up here. And I got to wake you up in email too, as well. So thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. Please listen to what I am saying. Nothing is going to change as long as you keep trying to mess with these people. That woman doesn't deserve, hasn't earned your care. She's earned those people that she stays with. That's what she deserves. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave your any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a narcissist you'd like to expose, or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with the PayPal and the email links in the description box. If you make a contribution, please let me know in the email link, the Ollie Matthews email link, whether you've made it or not, and send your stories to that same email address. I will be back in about 5 hours after the game, everybody. Ollie Matthews, thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.